Alright, I saw this making the rounds and I thought it was funny, so I wanted to look at it. Pretty simple. We asked Amaranth to name 3 people she wants on her team in a zombie apocalypse. Okay, what do you got here?
3 people you'd want on your team in a zombie apocalypse.
I think
Uh-huh.
probably The Rock. I feel like he
The Rock?
has hopefully had actual training, not just fake movie stunt training. Hopefully.
What does that even mean, right? Like, what? Like, how to, like, beat the shit out of zombies with, like, a lead pipe or something? Like, I mean, you just grab the lead pipe and you... Gah! Back, demon! Ah! You will not eat my brain, Satan! Ah! Ah! I feel like you don't really need training for something like that. Like, what do you mean? Like conditioning to be able to, like, move large distance, like, not large distances, but long distances for very long or something? I don't know. It's strange.
Andrew Tate. I feel like nothing's gonna want to fuck with him. He seems to be, above the law even. So we can just combine him with Tristan. I feel like they're like one person.
Why would you? Yeah, dude, because zombies care about the rule of law. Law? What are you, a fucking liberal? Law? Law? Jokes aside, it's a fucking zombie? It's a zombie. Why the fuck would the zombie care about Andrew and Tristan Tate, 2 pedophile rapists, being above the law? Laws no longer apply during a zombie apocalypse. It's just gonna be complete fucking anarchy, right? What laws are being followed? This is fucking stupid. Like, yeah, dude. Pedophile rapists number 1 and 2. I would definitely want them on my zombie apocalypse team because, we're gonna fucking not adhere to any rule of law in the zombie apocalypse. It's fucking stupid, right?
Who else would be the third one? Oh, Trump. He dodges bullets. It's a good one to have.
But zombies don't shoot.
Not that you know of.
Yeah, pretty good point by the interviewer. Yeah, zombies don't shoot. We're not dealing with the flood here, okay? If we're talking about archetypical fucking zombies, we're dealing with, like, dead, shambling corpses who don't know how to use basic fucking tools unless they're, like, holding, like, a piece of farming equipment. They're like, wah! But even then again, they're being puppeted by, like, a necromancer. We all know what she's essentially doing here. She's essentially saying, right wingers, right wingers, right wingers, pick me, pick me, pick me, pick me, pick me, pick me. I'm cool. I mentioned, like, people that you guys like. That's what this is actually all about. It's all fucking stupid pick me shit. That's the point of this. It's fucking dumb and stupid. I wonder if all the right-wingers who made fun of her before for being a woman on the internet like her now. That's a great question, Boy Meets Mini. Or for the fact that she, and not she is, but is currently still a sex worker. She posts content on OnlyFans. She like, does pornography. Like, right-wingers aren't going to like that about you, Amouranth. Again, the only reason why this is happening is because, like, the mold has now sort of infested her brain from consuming too much Moldman content, too much fucking Asmongold content. So, as a byproduct, whoa, crazy. She now wants to be like a stupid loser, dumb fuck pick me. Like, that's all that's all that this is, right? Let's be quite honest here. Like, all those for the society that you're currently pushing for, Amouranth, or the side that you're agreeing with, they'll just look at you and be like, bitch, get your dumbass back in the kitchen instead of popping your pussy on a fucking camera. What the fuck you think you're doing? And they would actually fucking smack the shit out of you or some shit. Let's be quite fucking honest. It's very stupid. It depends on what you consider, like, because right-wingers don't like women, so yeah, that's a pretty good point there, Violet. It's very fucking stupid, right? She's trying to grift to a particular audience because she literally consumes too much fucking Asmongold content and has been consuming a bunch of Asmongold content, so much so that she's now agreeing with a lot of his, like, dumb fucking opinions. Like, maybe all those queers in the wildfires, maybe they should have been burnt to a crisp or some shit. Like, she said that, like, about the LA wildfires. But, well, I guess this is, like, sort of the bed that she's currently making for herself. and it just wants to like lie in it. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, the dumbass. Because remember, I don't know if it was her former husband or if it's her current husband. I'm not really sure. I haven't been keeping up with fucking Amouranth, to be honest. Like, she was being coerced into doing sexual content that she didn't want to do before because of her husband. And that all got resolved to a certain extent. But now, she went back to doing OnlyFans content and doing pornographic content. That's her prerogative, whatever. I don't really give a shit about that. If, she's comfortable with doing particular things on there that she was not comfortable before doing with, like, her ex-husband or some shit. Whatever. Tomato, tomato. It's all, like, stupid and weird. We know essentially what's, like, going on here. She's trying to shift her opinions and her content to appeal to a particular audience. And, it's all going to eventually sort of, like, metastasize into, forming into general fucking opinions. I mean, I guess this is, like, a thing that's, like, generally happens. I don't know if you get, like, rejected for having, like, really stupid, dumb fucking opinions. Like, and maybe all those queers should have burnt to a crisp in that wildfire in LA or some shit. People are not going to like when you say stuff like that. I guess this is also the consequences of consuming too much Asmon slop content. He himself being a sort of, I guess, new gateway into the alt-right, being the new sort of megaphone for those fucking dipshits like your Gamergate 2 Electric Boogaloo anti-woke dumb fucks, and just like looking at like a Trump press conference being like, yeah, this is good. This is, like, really good. Yeah, I think this is, like, a smart thing for Trump to do, even though he has, like, no fucking idea about any of the policies or how, like, civic processes, like, work at all, because he's just critically undereducated in those topics. I mean, he did drop out of high school, so byproducts of American education sort of rearing their ugly heads yet again. But yeah, I mean, it should be, like, extremely fucking obvious what Amaranth's play here is. She wants to be a fucking new pick-me for the right. That's the fucking point. Plain and simple. No hyperbole. This is the easiest call of life. And, like, I'm gonna say it again. This is where, like, this never fucking works out and stuff like that. Like, it doesn't. It really, really never does. Like, because if she, like, leaves those audiences because she pisses them off, she can't ingratiate herself with, like, a more, like, liberal, like, center audience. Like, that's not how that works. They know that she's, like, a dumb fuck right-winger, and they're not gonna like her anymore. I don't know why Twitter's replaying the video. Fuck you, Twitter. That's where the money is, sadly. Asmon is the biggest just chatting streamer. That is true, Boy Meets Mini. You are hitting the nail on the head, which I guess is another thing we can look at. What? Asmongold is the biggest streamer. Right, where's that chart? Here it is. Asmongold is officially North America's most watched streamer so far in 2025. He currently has more hours watched than Kai Cenat and iShow Speed. Yep, unfortunately, this fucking dumbass troglodyte is leading amongst everyone. Yep, more than Kai and Speed. Right, and Speed is actually on the, like, lower part of this graph, funnily enough. Which is pretty fucking crazy. I guess Moldman's been putting in the fucking hours or whatever the fuck. And I mean, we all know, like, currently the money is that's where the money's at, because again, like I've said before, a lot of this is like a lot of, like, media adventures within the right wing are astroturfed complete nonsense. Not so much with Asmongold. Asmongold, I don't think is necessarily being propped up by what? He is not being propped up by billionaire, like, frackers or whatever the fuck. Not really. He's always been, like, a sort of established voice. But again, I've talked about this before in my attack on Gamergate arc. It's a sort of it's a feedback loop, right? It's self-sustaining. When you start to become a grifter, although honestly, I don't even know if it's appropriate to call Asmongold a grifter. I almost want to say no. I almost want to say if we're talking about politics, Asmongold, I think, is probably a grifter. I'll be quite honest. I don't think he believes in really much of anything when it comes to politics, but I don't think it's because he's doing that for the money, although that's like a sort of contributing factor. I think it's because of just pure lack of knowledge. So it's a little different there in that particular sense. I just don't think he's like sincere about like anything at all, purely because of like lack of knowledge. Because he will constantly talk out of both sides of his mouth whenever it comes to literally anything in terms of politics. In terms of like being like an anti-woke dipshit and like Gamergate 2's electric boogaloo type person, he definitely believes in that wholeheartedly. I when it comes to that stuff, not a grifter. I think he wholeheartedly believes in that shit. In terms of politics, I don't think he believes in really much of anything because again, he doesn't know shit about how politics works. But then again, that's just sort of like the problem with being a conservative in general. So you can basically say and do anything because they don't know anything, which is kind of silly, but such is the consequences of the post-truth reality that we currently live in. What can you fucking do? Like, it's just sad, dude, that, you know, quite literally, it's the throes of fucking Gamergate 2, and it's like, at least with, like, Gamergate 1, there was, like, an argument there. There was something that can be said. There is, like, criticisms that can kind of be had. But, like, it's way easier to call those people grifters because they're not doing it because they actually want to see, like, improvements or believe in the argument that Gamergate initially said. They were doing it because it farmed fucking outrage, and outrage marketing was becoming a sort of more prominent, easier form of marketing that was emerging as a result of, like, you know, your BuzzFeed of the world, the Keurig boycotts and shit like that. That's why a lot of this, like, stuff is, like, really easy to do and stuff. It's like what else can you say? I mean, you know, I've talked about these topics before, but I mean, this is the consequences of, like, the death of education right here, death of subjectivity, and, you know, a death of broader critical thinking ability. Because I mean, if you just apply, like, any form of sense or logic for, like, literally, like, 10 seconds on anything that Asmongold says, or, like, anything that any of these, like, stupid anti-woke grifters believe in, you'll know, like, instantaneously what they're saying is just complete fucking nonsense. It's dreck, it's nonsense. Complete bullshit. You know, a video, a creator I've been watching quite recently, at the suggestion from, not the suggestion, but, like, sort of from a Chariot video that I once watched before on her channel about the sort of anti-woke grifters, and very Jacob Geller-esque. That video, very, very good video. I have nothing but the highest praises of it. Person that I've been watching a lot more very often has been one of the creators she talked about in that video essay is the Birdman. The Birdman has a series called, basically, I think it's called Exposing the Grift, where he goes through, because he's a movie critic, he reviews movies, pretty much as, like, his job now. Yeah, I like him. He's pretty solid. You know, he's like a bit of a lib, but I don't like that. Doesn't really matter. His thing is that he wants to just review movies and critique movies, right? That's fine. Like, the politics doesn't really fucking matter all that much. I talk about that obviously because I cover politics. I don't really give a shit about that. Who gives a fuck about that? That's neither here nor there. He does a very good series called Exposing the Grift, where he's exposing grifters for being, well, grifters and just complete charlatans and morons. Just complete fucking idiots. These people are. And I agree, broadly speaking. They are very, very fucking dumb. Critical drinkers of the world, like Yellow Flash Guy, geeks and gamers. There are so many of them. And Asmongold also sort of, like, falls exactly in this fucking category. Of course, like, I don't know if Birdman would, like, go over, like, Asmonslop videos all that much. But, like, nah. Because Asmongold doesn't really talk about movies as much. He talks more about games. But I digress. Let's just simply say that he does a very good job at like pointing out how there's a lot of logical inconsistencies in the beliefs of a lot of anti-woke gamers, which he's broadly speaking very, very correct about. Same shit applies very much so to Asmongold. You can bake the arguments all day. You can find the clips. You can find the videos. Like, you can do that. The sort of like whole deal is that it's really, really, really easy to like shit on these fucking morons. And this is a point that he brings up. The problem is that they put out so much content and it's so easy to throw together and just put together that it becomes really difficult to sort of like debunk all this stuff. Very, very difficult. Because there's just so much of it, because it's so easy to create misinformation, and we are currently in a social media environment where, because of the fact that it's all algorithmically sort of controlled, and so much of it gets easily picked up because it stirs outrage, it gets people talking and mad, a lot of it tends to flood into the minds and the timelines and everywhere super, super easily. So it's very difficult to combat it because of just how much of it there is. And this is the sort of byproduct. We are in the new Gamergate, more or less. I think it's pretty safe to say that we are in the sort of new Gamergate era. It is time for a constant and valiant offense against all these fucking like dipshits and grifters. And you know, I do wish my fellow soldiers in the anti-Gamergate stupid anti-woke crowd the best of luck. I shall also be joining you on the front lines. Silly LARPing aside, it's quite difficult to combat all these people because there's just so fucking much of it. And, you know, it's like as Steve Bannon said, flood the zone. Keep saying so much fucking crap. Keep distracting. Keep doing this. And this goes in parlance with the earlier argument I was saying with how social media plays into this, because broadly speaking, those videos get popular. They get pushed more into more people. There's more distractions. So much so that the billionaires in the back can easily get out with the money in the fucking pockets out of the back door from the treasury. We all know about like what's going on. It's a distractionary technique to help maintain systems of control and hierarchy. That's the overall point. Because like anti-woke grifters, as said in like the Jacob Geller video that I've looked at, that I looked in when I was doing my Attack on Gamergate arc, these people don't care about art. They don't care about like whatever bubble fucking video games. These things don't matter at all to any of these people. They could care less about this stuff. It's all about maintenance of control and hierarchy. First order principle of every fucking conservative. Asmongold wants to also maintain his current status on top, and so he's doing that in the way he thinks is the most efficacious, and that is pushing as much Gamergate 2 fucking slop out there as possible. Because guess what? You look at any Asmongold video, it's gonna get like 1 million views. It's gonna like probably like go viral. People are gonna fucking talk about it because, you know, he is unfortunately that big of a content creator. That is what it is. That's just kind of just how it is at the moment. And like I said before, I think at every single turn you need to do everything possible in order to combat these people. Full court press. You must do everything possible in order to push back on literally every single word that these people are saying. And I'm not saying it's not really efficient. It's quite difficult because there is a lot of it. You can say it is impossible, and I would agree that it is quite impossible. And, you know, it oftentimes will also get in this sort of like maelstrom of misinformation and just complete skullduggery and tomfoolery. It will like catch other people. Amouranth is one of those people who has been caught into this. Like, we know she watches a bunch of Asmongold content. We know this. We know this. This has been said before. It's not ridiculous or hyperbolic for me to say this. And, you know, This is sort of like the consequences of that. It makes like a complete dumb fucking idiot like misinformation like campaign gain more power in Steam and is able to just keep going because, well, some bumblefucks just fucking fall down the rabbit hole and end up believing all this shit. It is what it is. I mean, it doesn't change the fact that it's also because, like, Asmongold is a piece of shit of a person, but that's a whole different sort of story. Anywho. I mean, there's really not much else to say here, besides, like, Amouranth is trying to be a pick-me, and we are really officially in the sort of Gamergate 2 sort of era. This is it. We are officially in it. Wouldn't be surprised if like a lot of more of those like anti-woke dumbasses and perhaps even the skeptic types start to coming back and doing like potentially like anti-woke content or whatever. Who knows? And they'll be difficult to combat, but you should combat them at every turn. You cannot rest, because if you do rest, there are chances that conditions will simply just get worse. Because overall, what do these people want? They just want material conditions on the ground for you, the humble citizen of whatever country, it doesn't really matter, to get worse overall. Because we all know, broadly speaking, right-wingers are not fundamentally happy people. They tend to be very depressed and just very, very upset people. Let's be quite honest here. It's not healthy to be a right-winger. Let's be quite honest. It is. I mean, yeah. It just is. It is what it is. And, yep, everything possible must be done to combat these people at every single turn. You cannot rest, because if you do rest and you simply lie down and die, then guess what? You will actually die.